Hey guys, bummed that the podcast on this one's going to look like it is, but I'm just always going to be upfront with you. The software I used uh, kind of destroyed the interview with Adrian and me, and also I'm unable to do the green screen effects. So this is where I filmed the entire thing, and you're going to see that. And I always want to be upfront and honest with you guys. I'm still learning, and I just enjoy and appreciate all of your guys' ears and time. Um, it's going to get better, and I'm going to learn through it. But this content and all the other topics were more important to get the information and get some stuff out for you guys than it is to be polished and clean, in my opinion. So hope you guys like it. If you do, please give it a like. Please give it a share, subscribe, do all that jazz. If not, I understand. And hopefully on the next one, it looks a lot better. But this is what the pilot episodes are supposed to be for, and this is how it starts. So I appreciate you guys' patience. And as always, thanks for your ears. Thanks for your time. I love you, and go Knights.
Hey, Pete, uh, Mr. DeBoer, old pal, friend and confidant, former head coach. I think I'm asking for a friend or for multiple millions of friends who were watching last night. What are you doing? Two goals go in on two shots. I get that. There's 45 minutes of more than that. There's there's so much game left. What are you doing? You call the timeout. Got it. You let Oettinger skate back and then call him back? Are you out of your mind? He's definitely fired, right? There's no way he can continue to be the coach. He knows he's fired. I, I am so beyond words. I guess that's one way to get a vacation. Just don't have a job. Dude, what is going on? Um, yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. But this is all that glitters. Let's start the show. What's going on, guys? So last night, the stage is set. A rematch in the Stanley Cup Finals. Florida Panthers, Edmonton Oilers. I got the Cats in 6. So that definitely means Edmonton wins in like 7 or 5. I have no idea. But yeah, just Edmonton is just this juggernaut, and Florida's been this juggernaut, and now they're going to come meet at the helm. And yeah, a lot of things that happened last night's game that I think is going to be wondering what in the world is just I have no idea what we just watched, but it is what it is, and now we have another crack at Connor McDavid, trying the best player in the world, trying to get his first Stanley Cup, and if he does he immediately go to the Hall of Fame, or do we still have to wait till he's playing? I mean, done playing, it just wow. Um, yeah, this episode I have our first guest, so we'll have fun with Adrian Wolf stopped by and hung out with me for a little bit, and yeah, we'll get to listen to that a little bit later. I appreciate you guys' patience uh, in letting me learn all this stuff, but yeah, a couple of things. Last episode, I get to talking, and sometimes I mix up points and goals and things like that. So statistics for me are going to be like stop signs, really loose, depending on who's around. Is this 5 a.m. and I'm heading to work and it's a stop sign by my house and no one's around? That's a suggestion. I'm rolling on by it. If I say 22 goals and I meant points, and even if I was off on that, oops. So don't come to this podcast if you want correct stats, or in the transcripts if you want correct spelling. That's just not me. It's not going to happen. But you will get some fun fun chats and maybe a fun little rant or two. Yeah. Pete DeBoer goalies are like oil and water. Holy cow. That was rough to watch. And then the funniest thing to me, and I was telling my wife, who just, that's my best friend, so she has to listen to everything I'm doing, and vice versa, but I think she's less interested in the things that I'm telling her about. But the way Dallas is set up, that once Oettinger got pulled, he had to sit next to Ray Ferraro, who unfortunately, after he left the dressing room and came back, was just going over everything that was going on. And like rewatching it on a tablet, not even 3 feet from Oettinger, he could hear everything he was saying. And I did some looking up today. Ray Ferraro was 5'10", 195 when he was playing. So he's maybe 5'9" and like $170 now. He looks great. But Jake Oettinger was, I think his stats, he's 6'5", 220. So like this dude who's just doing his job, but he's just like, oh yeah, he really wants that one back, things like that. And it was like, I could just see the eye twitch the whole time. Like I could just snap this guy in half. But credit to Oettinger. What are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to do in that scenario? I mean, if it was me and I wasn't coming back out for the second, I might not have just came back out and sat him like, hey, have fun with your e-bug. Like, what are we doing? I'm going home. There was a scene too during first intermission as they were coming back. Oettinger was just standing like this, and Pete DeBoer walked right by him, didn't even look at him. And, it happened with Marc-Andre Fleury. And then we have the infamous sword in the back. One when he started Leonard in the bubble. And then Leonard got it after he was injured. And then the next year he had the double hip surgery. Thompson's got shade thrown at him. It's this guy with goalies. It just doesn't make sense. I think that you could pull a goalie and get a spark in your offense in December. You could do that before the trade deadline. Hey boys, wake up. But when you're doing that facing elimination against Edmonton to get a spark back, and you're pulling your number one starting goaltender, who's arguably going to be a starter for the Olympics this year between him and Hellebuck, okay, dude. And then the next shot goes in. DeSmith, it kept rolling on. So there's your spark. Cool. All you did was piss people off. Brother, not the move. But he's going to be great in Nashville. Or who else is looking for a coach? He's going to be great on the TNT panel next year. That's going to be him. Him and Rick Bowness, they're going to just keep going back and forth on like games that he can attend and can go forward. He's going to be a great personality. And then Paul Bissonnette can just like grill him about goaltending. And that's going to be just like A1 drama to watch. Oh my God, what a bad move. But hey, it is what it is. And now we get a pretty cool Stanley Cup final. I dislike Edmonton so much, so I am definitely a big Cats fan this series. I want Connor McDavid screaming in the locker room with his voice cracking. And listen, I think I've said it before. I think he's the best player in the universe. He just happens to be on a team. Like everyone's just like, oh, Chris Knobloch's such a great coach, and that might be true. He might be an incredible coach, but when you have two of the best players in the NHL, like, dude, I could coach Edmonton to a Stanley Cup final. Probably not. It's just fun to say, but like, what are we doing? Like, yeah, no kidding. Whatever. Things are getting a little bit interesting on the free agent market. We had that episode that just dropped yesterday. I'm recording this the day after on Friday. So I don't know when this will be out, but, there's some rumblings that Toronto's interested in a sign and trade for Marner. And then like they were Toronto was talking, there was rumors last year that they were talking to Vegas, and it's just been, the rumblings are starting to get more and more. And then And then there's this stuff, I personally think Vegas needs a little bit more scoring depth. And this might sound crazy, and I said it in the interview with Adrian, but something about taking Mark Stone and putting him down the lineup in like the third line right wing. I know he makes 9.5. I get that. I know he's your captain, but like, you mitigate his minutes on the third line. Him centered by Carlson, and say we sign Riley Smith to $2.5 million a year on a good team friendly deal. Dude, Riley Smith, Carlson, Stone would be such an incredible shutdown line, but with this crazy high offense. I really don't think that that's like having another second line. I don't think that that's the traditional third line. And the way Bruce Cassidy likes to create offense off defense in the rush, like, you have a shutdown center, you have a shutdown right wing who may be the smartest person in hockey because he has to make up for his lack of, this sounds crazy for me to say because he's an NHL like superstar, but like his lack of physical talent. Like, he's not out skating Connor McDavid, but he's out thinking him you know what I mean? Like, so he's more intelligent than he is physically gifted. And then Riley Smith and Carlson, they work. It's just like, yum. I like it. So yeah, maybe that's a weird third line. Maybe you don't agree, but I think for me in my crazy brain, it works super. I like to try to think out of the box. I'm not boxed in by this traditional hockey gatekeeping, like, well, that'll never work because of this, and this. And well, with the full movement, and like, I get all that, man. And I get how it's been run forever and ever, but like, what if it wasn't? What if someone got creative? Vegas gets creative with the salary cap. Why not? I think there's a lot of human element to negotiations that people don't quite like. They're just like, no, he makes this money and he said, and he signed, and there's a contractual. And I'm like, yeah, dude, I get that. But like, you could like talk really nice and like figure out, hey, together we could move you here, because the alternative is doing what the Rangers did last year. And they're just like, okay, cool. Hey, Trouba, how's waivers? Like, that's insanity. So, and maybe you don't come to an agreement and you end up with a buyout situation on a contract you don't like, or maybe you do end up just like saying, suck it up and you'll play out your contract and things like that. But I think that there's creativity to be had. So to me, moving someone like Mark Stone, who we do want to mitigate minutes because his health has been an issue in the past, and we do want to conserve our captain. He's one of the lifebloods of the team, and having him and Eichel worked really well in the beginning of the year, but that's not what we're playing for. We're playing for the end of the year. We're playing for the postseason, and it's always an option. It's always break glass in case of emergency, throw Stone up with Eichel, and let's see what happens. But in Cassidy's no stranger to a line blender, so why not? And I think if you do that, you can get creative. You could put a Besser or an Ehlers or a Marner on that top line with Eichel, and wow, let's see what runs. I did some number crunching based off taxes, and again, I get that you don't play all 82 games at home, so you're getting different states' taxes if you're playing in those states that do, but in provinces. But listen, signing a $12.5 million deal, 12.75 or in that 12 to 13 range, is almost $2 million more than signing a $14 million deal in Toronto. So, and what we have to think about too is Mitch Marner grew up in Toronto. He's born and raised there. So like, it is a childhood dream. He played there. And now I think though you can have those childhood dreams turn sour when the fan base turns against you. That's not to say there isn't some sickos and crazy people here who are like, a goaltender has a bad game, Fleury denier. Like, people who like loved Marc-Andre Fleury because of what he did for the city tend to like hate Aiden Hill. They hated Robin Lehner. They loved Logan Thompson because he had a very similar play style. And that's no knock on Logan Thompson. I think he's an incredible goaltender. Look what he did with Washington. I think he has a bit of an attitude problem, but I don't know him. So and I'm not going to claim to be, the expert on Logan Thompson lore. So, but he also didn't make the Four Nations roster because of two coaches saying that they didn't even want the like whisper of any sort of like drama. So, and you know what? You have to bet on yourself, and you have to be a little bit. You have to have a swagger and maybe like a little cockiness about you, but that can't hurt the team. So, anyway, I went off on a little tangent there, but we have some psychos in this fan base that will, completely turn on a player. I've been it too. I've sent Nick Waugh to the KHL 172 times this last season alone. I have, as I'm standing here right now, I'm willing to admit there was a time where, and I still do stand by this, but me in a group chat with, I'll bring back these characters. I got a character named Juan Merrill, and I got a character named the Accountant, and they will be plenty talked about in this podcast. The Accountant and Merrill and myself have a group chat, and it started a couple years ago where I said it, and I'll stand by it. I think on a land fight, I think I can hold my own against Zach Whitecloud. It came about Whitecloud always ending up on his butt and like getting pushed around. But this year, man, he had a little bit more snarl, and I do respect the heck out of his game. He's grown a lot. And now, albeit on the ice, 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10, 14 times out of 10, I'm getting my face bashed in. But I think he's a big dude though. And I do know it's their dream to somehow get me in the room with Zach Whitecloud and tell him that at one point I thought I could beat him up in a fight. But that's just how fans can be. I can say those things, and it just is cathartic. It gets it off my chest. And I'm like, okay, whew, now that that's done, Nick Waugh, you can come back. We'll divert the plane from Russia, put it back in here. But I mean, imagine that, but being serious in times a million, and then that's what you have in Toronto. So Marner could very well be out and done. But yeah, just money-wise, like even on paper, you're taking a pay cut. If you were saying like, I'm turning down $14 million in Toronto to do 12.5 here in Vegas or whatever, wherever he signs, you're not taking a pay cut in actuality with money earned after taxes. But also, no one talks about like the quality of life. Like you're not taking a pay cut in that. Like you're gaining so much quality of life. Like me and my coworkers at my actual job, we talk about it all the time. It's like, we don't make this incredible amount of money. That's not why we do what we do. A, we're making an impact on people's lives, but also B, like we get to have we get to love genuinely where we work, and I get to I hang out with my buddies at work, and if I need to make an appointment for my kids to see a doctor, if I need an appointment, or hey, if I want to play a cheeky round of golf in the middle of the day, like as long as I set my day up that way, like I have that little bit of freedom, and that's priceless. So, and I'm not going to speak for everybody who's had kids, but I can tell you right now, like being a first-time dad, which Marner is now, and you'll do anything to protect your family. And if that means getting him out of a situation to better their life so that they're not hyper scrutinized and they're not like, Toronto's not going anywhere. Marner's not just going to be like exiled from Canada. Like he might get booed a little bit when he leaves and comes back to Toronto, Scotiabank. But like, I mean, with me and my wife and kids, like we're not going to be in Vegas forever because we want to better our sons' lives. So like, I totally get that in that regard. And hey, he's not the only one anymore. It's not him and his dog anymore. It's him, his wife, and his kid, and like, so he's got to make a choice that's it's good for him and good for the family. And I think I made the comparison last time. You get a guy out of a situation that might not have been, it gets thrown around, but it's a toxic situation with like Jack Eichel in Buffalo. And yeah, maybe he didn't handle it the way Buffalo fans would have wanted him to handle it. But at the end of the day, if you're being rational, like the guy made a choice for his own body autonomy, and like you have to respect that. Now, did he throw some shade after the first time he got back? And yeah, but like, dude, that's human nature. And you got to remember, this guy was 27 at the time, 28. He's young. Like, I said some dumb stuff in my 20s. I still say some dumb stuff, and I'm talking to you guys. So I think they get scrutinized too much. But you know, what happened when he came here? Year one was a little bit weird. He had the neck surgery, and then he had a wrist thing go on, and they missed the playoffs. And then all the chirping started. See, I told you this and that. Bookmark. What happened the next year? He was, he's holding that Lord Stanley. What happened with Buffalo? Oops. Missed the playoffs again. So I'm not saying that without Marner, Toronto's going to miss the playoffs, but, you know, for all that Marner hate and saying like, oh, he's not a dog and he's soft and he's all flash and can't get it done when it matters and this, that, and the other. Maybe, but also maybe you guys were the problem a little bit. Maybe he isn't built to be the guy. Maybe now he doesn't have to be the guy. He flourishes and he learns to be the guy. It's what happens with these young guys, these kids that come into the league, and then they're like, oh yeah, cool. I'm 18 and I'm the man. And then they go play against men, and then they're like, oh, whoa, what happened? Not everybody's Connor McDavid. Not everybody's Macklin Celebrini. It's crazy that Connor Bedard gets any sort of hate, but like he's putting up 60 points a year. Like, dude, that's incredible, especially at 18, 19. Like, the kid can't even legally have a beer, and you guys are like trashing him, and it's like, oh, this guy's worthless. It's like, that's such an insane take. It's almost comical, but you're being serious, which means like there's something mentally going on with you. So listen, I think it's going to be very interesting to see what's going on here shortly, and I am here for it, dude. I just can't wait. I said it today. I like Vegas is like, the silence is excruciating right now. Like, there's people making little bits like Kyle Palmieri just got signed to a 2-year extension. Well, I mean, like, obviously that if it's silent, maybe we have to wait till July 1st. Obviously there's always a little bit of tampering going on. And I'm not saying we should be tampering to get things done, but let's get something going. I mean, we could extend Eichel. We could do something. We could make a fun trade. Trades are fine, especially if we're going to start signing and trading $12.5 million right wing. I'm just saying, lots to look forward to soon, and I can't wait for it. Again, I'm going to say Cats in 6, and let's get this party started.